Good morning. My name is Rajsi Rana. I'm the head of strategy and operations at Skyflow, and today I'm in Chicago at Sertifi's office. I'm also joined by Stephan, Nagy, the CTO of Sertifi. Hi, Stephan.
Hi, Rajsi.
Please tell me a little bit about Sertifi and what you guys do.
Sertifi is a software as a service company based in Chicago. We are about 150 people. We specialize in providing an agreements and payments platform that helps people finalize business faster. So executing on the terms of a contract and collecting a payment for a service.
Awesome. I would love to learn, how is Sertifi using Skyflow today?
We're using Skyflow to handle and protect sensitive data from our customers to ensure that within our own systems, we're only handling tokens, and that Skyflow is managing the lifecycle of those tokens and protecting the underlying data.
Tell me a little bit about why you chose to use a solution like Skyflow. And now that you are using Skyflow, what has it unlocked for you at Sertifi value-wise?
We chose to use a solution like Skyflow so that, one, it meets our use case today, allowing us to tokenize credit card PAN and keep that protected. But also it sets us up to be able to innovate and deliver additional solutions and safeguard the user's data as we do that. It has allowed us to start looking at additional use cases around handling other types of sensitive data outside of just the payment workflow.
Tell me a little bit about how you at Sertifi think about privacy and security.
So we really view ourselves as a security first company. Our key value prop is that we handle our customers' data in as secure manner as possible. So security is not something you can slap on as an afterthought. It's really a frontline consideration in everything that we do. There's a lot of data that companies aggregate and collect on behalf of their customers, and it's paramount that they safeguard it and treat it as if it's their own personal data, right? Mm-hmm. There are too many attack vectors, and our primary value add to our customers is securing the data that they entrust with us.
Why did you go with a data privacy vault-based approach?
We had the need to tokenize credit card PAN to make sure that we were protecting that and keeping that secure. We also have other use cases that we're exploring that allow us to treat sensitive data all the same, tokenize it regardless of its provenance. So it can be credit card PAN, it could be first name, last name, it could be social, it could be an image, it could be a signature, but it allows us to treat all of those data elements securely and in the same way.
And what made you sort of, want to look at something different or maybe switch?
Part of it was cost and scaling. We process millions of events a day, both for tokenization and detokenization. So we needed a model that scaled with us, but we also needed a provider that would allow us to expand beyond our current use case around credit card PANs, being able to handle just about any piece of sensitive data that we want to handle and treat it securely within our system so that it's only ever revealed at the point in time where it needs to be revealed.
Tell me a little bit about, did you guys ever consider building something like this in-house?
Not seriously. The effort to build something like this is considerable, and there's a big opportunity cost with it.
Right.
I would rather spend our intellectual capital innovating in the products where we are specialized rather than having to build up a new core expertise and deliver a internal product for securing data. It provides benefits to our customers, but it's outside of our wheelhouse, and it's important enough that we need to make sure that it's being done correctly.
Yeah. It's so interesting because when we often talk to customers, sometimes we'll talk about, there's an engineer whose sole job is to manage and rotate your keys.
Yes.
If you had considered sort of building it, what would your estimate be of how many engineers it would take, how long it would take for you to get to a proof of concept?
Yeah, so for something like this, we'd want to build some core expertise to make sure we really understood the use cases, make sure we really understood how we were going to protect the data. I think that we would have had to hire that expertise We'd need to develop it in-house. I'd expect the effort around this, 18 to 24 months, a team of 8 to 12 engineers to do it right. You could obviously build something much quicker, but it wouldn't offer you the same degree of risk mitigation and safety that you have with somebody who specializes in this field.
Yeah, totally. And it's just so core to you. The cost of doing it wrong once means data loss, it means loss of customer trust, and it means, a potential breach. I mean, 2024 is the year of breaches. What have we heard now? 1 billion records of PII have breached?
It only takes one event to lose the trust of your customers and end your company, right? It takes years to develop and maintain trust, and it takes seconds to lose it. So you want to make sure you're doing it right.
Tell me more about what other types of sensitive data does Sertifi handle?
So within our system, since we are an agreements platform, it's a lot of contracts. Within contracts, they can handle sensitive data. We also are HIPAA certified, so we're dealing with PHI as well as PCI. We allow participants to upload supplementary records. Currently, those records are encrypted. We would like to move to full tokenization so that they are opaque, single-way tokens, irreversible tokens. So that's the direction we're moving in.
Tell me a little bit about, sensitive data. It's very important to have this vector around it, who can see it, when, and from where. Tell me about how you're using Skyflow for that today, but also how does Sertifi think about that internally?
Sure. We try and follow least privilege. The roles-based access controls Skyflow offers allows us to scope service accounts and roles to users so that they can only perform the actions that they need for their job duties.
So it's really interesting to see a real life use case of how role-based access control allows you to be both secure as well as run your company. So, CTOs don't have to face the false dichotomy of, securing the data or using the data.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about what's unique about Skyflow.
To us, Skyflow's unique value prop is the general purpose data vault, right? It's not just payment information. It's images, it's metadata, it's social, it's last four social, it's birthday, it's first name, last name, elements in a document, right? You can take a capture of an ID, feed it into Skyflow, and get back a redacted version of that ID where the redacted elements are tokenized and stored in Skyflow and associated with that entity.
Tell me a little bit about Skyflow's pricing model and why it worked for a company like yours.
Skyflow's pricing model is unique, at least as far as we've seen, in that they don't monetize on the number of tokens. You associate an identity. An identity can have one or more tokens associated with it. They also don't charge per API request. So for somebody like us who are making millions of API requests a day, it's a very scalable and predictable cost model.
When we were developing this pricing model, it was important to us to do two things. One was to make sure that our pricing was not API based, because companies like yourself, we don't want you to architect your systems artificially in a way in order to conserve costs based on the number of API calls that you're making. So I'm glad to know that the predictable pricing resonated.
Yes, it was a key differentiator, right? Especially as we expand our use cases and we're collecting more bits of sensitive data per entity. It gives us a way to predictably manage our cost and increase our usage in a way that allows us to deliver value to our customers.
That's awesome. We talked a little bit about pricing. Tell me, what were some of the other factors in making your decision?
The general purpose data vault, being able to handle just about any type of data that we wanted to protect. Mm-hmm. The ability to integrate with a data warehouse like Snowflake to protect the data and treat it as tokens in the warehouse. And then some additional use cases as we start looking at machine learning and AI, where we can use tokens within those models without ever exposing any sensitive data.
That's awesome. I would love to double click into your implementation process.
Sure, the implementation process was really pretty straightforward. You guys are API first, your APIs are well documented. You use the same APIs we use. The success team really sets you up for success. They're very available. The interaction points are there, the channels to interact. They're very responsive to questions. We were able to work hand in hand to vet our approach and make sure that we understood how we were modeling the data and that it made sense in Skyflow,
Right.
and that we had a path to bring all of our data along with us. It took us about 45 days for the technical implementation, a little bit longer to verify and test it to make sure that it worked as expected. We actually took a dual write process where we were writing to multiple providers for a period of time so that we could have a zero downtime cutover. It was very seamless and straightforward. Moving the data, using your data pipeline, we were able to export directly from our previous provider to Skyflow. We never had to handle the data, and you were able to bring it into your system very rapidly.
That's awesome. And
The import was like 2 days. We did not want to interrupt our customer experience as we cut over systems. Success to us was nobody knew anything had changed under the covers.
You also touched on security and reliability and scalability. Would love for you to elaborate on that.
Sure. The architecture Skyflow has chosen to adopt is horizontally scalable. It's also generally available, right? Skyflow is deployed in multiple regions, multiple availability zones, so they have a high degree of availability. They also have a high degree of redundancy. The other factor for us is as we expand geographically and we move into Asia Pac and Europe and South America, Skyflow has deployments in those regions, allowing us to offer a least latent experience to our customers. So we're not round tripping transatlantic, trans-Pacific. We can offer a good quality of service in the regions we're deployed in.
I think a solution like Skyflow ends up being really core to a customer's infrastructure. Would love for you to talk about, if it's in your critical path, have you noticed latency? How does it work within all of your systems today?
So typically our latency within our interactions with Skyflow is measured in milliseconds. It's a seamless integration today. As we switched providers, nobody noticed a disruption. Everything continued to work. Our actual scalability and performance went up. So we didn't, as we increased our volume and transfer, we didn't see an increase in latency. We actually saw the inverse where it went down.
There's this thing that we use internally within the company, which is called CTO Sleep, sponsored by Skyflow. So I hope you're sleeping well at night, knowing your customers' data is well protected and in the right place.
Yes. Thank you for coming. It's been nice chatting with you. We look forward to continue to use and innovate with Skyflow.